Yo, nice to have you back on the channel. Hope you're doing great. I was in Amsterdam on ADE. There was a lot of going on. There was like some cool events. I saw 0 BPM, for example. That's like a new thing where they make meditation, ambient stuff in churches. Amazing. Saw my friend Gigi there. Really beautiful set she played there. And yeah, also we was there because the analyzer that I'm using here and there in these videos is finally released. I will link the website somewhere. Helpful if you want to produce, mix or master and don't have the perfect room, right? Because you never can trust your ears. So yeah, that's out of the way. Today I want to go a little bit more in a technical topic because today I want to talk how you kind of fix the relation between bass and kick, because there's this two moments I would say when I'm like try to have a full mix and I realize my kick is, I'm losing my kick kind of in the full mix. There's two ways you can sidechain, like you can duck elements through your kick so the kick gets space again. And there's many ways to do that, but I found like a new device that is very helpful for that and very easy to use. What is I think the main thing why I'm using it. And then we have the other thing where you can add little click sounds or something to get your kick kind of the one back into your mix, right? And yeah, I have two devices from one developer, GM Audio. That is one person, he's from Australia. Yeah, we actually hopped in a call because I wanted to know if I share some stuff here on the channel. I always want to know what is the person behind. Is it a huge brand? Do I really want to support them? Kind of my ethical stuff I always do. Okay, so let's jump in Ableton. And in Ableton, I just built like a little, let's say a little example row here. So I have a PunchBox in really simple terms, just a little bit of tools. So a little click and the kick in sinus mode. The rest is off. And then close. And then I have an operator with like just a sinus subline. So when we hear this both together, you have that classic boom, right? And that sounds cool and amazing. Of course, normally you would do a little bit more than just one note here, right? And here the kick looks like this, but your bassline most of the time is a sequence or I don't know. But if you want just that, that is most of the time the problem that you will have phase issues. We always talk about phase issues. I took really long to understand it actually. But what phase issue do is you have the kick on G, for example. So the same frequency range like your G. What note we have here? Yeah, it's G. So you're on G with the note, the kick and the bass line. So they kind of harmonize, but also killing each other out. What I mean with that, that's the phase issue problem. So when you have a sound that goes and gives you this like boom. So you have this wave to the up. And then you have the same bass line on top. These sounds, they are the same on top of each other. And nature does one thing with that. It just deletes it. It kind of cut it out. So what will happen is when every time your kick is playing and this bass line is going on too, your kick kind of will have different volume stages. So if we listen to one bar, you will have a kick that punch properly, then a second kick that is a little bit like weirder, offer, more quieter. Then another one is like, it sounds like you put velocity modulation on top. And you don't want to do that with a kick most of the time. So it makes it really wobbering and like kind of destroys your kick. Or your bassline, depends really on how the things come together. But just the fact that when tones come with the same frequency range on each other, they delete itself. So you just hear the full same element, but quieter. And then your kick starts to, in German we say, es eiert, just like so you want a straight pop, 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 same kick, same level, same punch, all the time till you in the DJ or something cut it away, right? And to make that for sure happening, we can do things like side chaining, right? And side chaining is when you go in a glue compressor, right? And you put an external signal in this case, the punch box, so the kick, but you put that on the sub. We all know that, right? And it can sound like this. That's a cool element, but it gives you also kind of this release and attack game that you have to play down here. So like I have to go here and find the perfect sweet spot, how fast everything is to start. So we can do that better when we, for example, cut the attack now. I will really try to get the peak and then stays a bit longer. If you don't want that, you can even make that. But you see already we have to do all of this. What I love on that DACA, that's the tool from GM Audio. The DACA, you make it on. It looks like this when you load it. And then you just put your input in. And then you have instantly beautiful analyzer that shows you in green the kick right now. And then in white your bassline. And then you can adjust with hold and release. And you literally see what's happening here. Beautiful. So when your kick is a bit longer, you also want a longer hold, right? And we can say the amount, of course, also. It's like the threshold. But what I love here is it's very fast. And then you can also, what I love here is go on beats. We are on 4/4, so it stays on that, so it's not scrolling, right? So we really can watch that thing now. This analyzer is amazing. You can literally zoom in, check your position, and then say, okay, here, that's my kick now. And with one button, we can invert that. And did you hear that? It feels like 3 dB plus or something. Yeah, and if you check here, the bassline, when I make the invert off again, you see here we are on -12-ish, -13, but yeah, let's say -12-ish. And if I invert this, it don't change any sound. We are the same here, but it feels like 3 dB louder with one button. And that is what I mean. Like, this tool is very helpful because you literally can see your kick properly. You can dial in the stuff, but in the standard setting like it is, you can just invert it perfectly and it's on point. I don't know. For me, this tool is a no-brainer if I have a bassline, because now my kick sounds heavier, my bass sounds heavier, and without it, we're losing the kick in the bassline. And now with it, we really get the punch back from the kick, right? And we actually know that we're not adding any volume to the bassline or the kick. So we can do that later with that headroom that we still have, what is amazing. And I said today, it's more like a really technical video today, and technical videos and audio, you know how it is, right? It is little things. You can almost not hear it, but these little things add up over time, like in mastering, and then you literally have more dynamic, punchier sounds. Yeah, this is one of these little tricks that you can use to make your mastering, your mixing way better, because you just use the DACA and not the sidechain, and you invert it here, and then yeah, it just punch much more than if I don't invert it. For example, getting the punch from my kickback sounds way better. Again, if I do this with the compressor, it gets this like, and sure, we can shape it in a way that it sounds musical, but if you pick everything to the left, like the attack, the release, it just still have this sound. And here I can clean, just see what I'm actually doing with my kick and then shaping it. Here, getting it back, you see? Now it sounds a little bit like the sidechain from the glue compressor. But I can even get faster. Now you see they layer each other. Sometimes you want that also a little bit, but getting your punch from the start of the click is very important. So I like to, I don't know, put it somewhere here, 40 milliseconds, or actually giving it a little bit more release. And now I really have my, can also round the curve a bit. And now you see here my kick gets ducked, it fades in with my bassline, and then the bassline have the space and full range, and we go back in the next kick. So if we zoom out a bit, we see how the bassline will be shaped by the kick. And you can see that literally live in that little device, in that tool. So, and then again, I make it off. On. We're just getting the punch of the kick back. Otherwise, it's just one with a click, and with this, we get really the punch back. Okay, that's one device I wanted to show. Very, very helpful analyzer tool for fixing your kicks and your bassline relationships, and dial it in with visual context. I really love that. Normally, I need my analyzer for that, plug. But having that enabled and instantly in the moment where you literally just want to see the kick and the bass, that's perfect. So you can do that way more precise than like just side chaining it with a glue compressor, for example. So what I want to show you now is the GM audio clipper, because here you have, for example, this percussion's going on now, and a beautiful visualization again, seeing the dynamic range of that element, and it's very fast. So you would say, hey, we have a limiter enabled, so why you don't use that? Limiter have smoothings, so we don't get clicks and overtones. This one is faster than a limiter. We're kind of getting a little bit more edge to the sound. So just here now, and check also the metering here. So we have this minus 11-ish element going on here. And now I'm putting that ceiling down. Now we're adding it. Do you hear how it gets a little bit more in your face now? Without. With. So we saturate a little bit, just the little peaks. And if you check the metering again, I go up. Minus 11. Louder punch, and we're minus 18. So now I have headroom that I can dial in back to where we was. Let's say minus 12 again. And now if I make it off, that's our minus 11-ish, minus 11-ish percussion sound with the operator. And now I put that on with that dynamic range that we get, plus the boost again to minus 12. Way more punch. It's kind of insane what this thing is doing. It just takes the peaks and distort it. You can even hear what it does if you go here on solo. So this does nothing, and then it adds on that peaks this sound. You can do it on the full thing. You can even use it like this if you want. But now we are like 100% in. And with... no, we have the 6 dB plus here. Let's make them off. So fair comparison. And then put that on minus 12. Minus, what we said, minus 18. So let's say minus 18 here. So when I make it on, we are back on minus 12, but it sounds louder. And you can use this for elements like this, of course. So now when we have the mix and without, right? I think you get the point. This can be amazing when we go into, let's say, a project that I almost finished here. And we, we take that loop here till here. Okay. And we have this kick going on. Let's even say shorter loop. And now I have all these elements going on here. And we have a group with my kick and the bass line. Here you actually see the bass line, I'm using it. With, we hear the kick much better. You can actually invert. Depends how powerful you want. Actually, let's invert it, yeah. So I use that, and then what I wanted to show you is we have now a group with a click and a bass line. And even here, if we say we take the clipper, here are little peaks that we can maybe even and then I would always highly recommend to you go in the solo mode, listen what you add. That, for example, is way too much. I would say if you work on a group, try to make just clicks. Really, the thing that you actually want to add are clicks, so listen to it. I love this button, by the way. It's amazing to have that. That little click here. Yeah. Without it. With it. And then you can add how much you want. Really use it for like saturation that you put only on one little element, one little peak, you know, depends really what kind of sound you forming right now. But on a group, I would take it really easy. Just to get a little bit freshness, a little bit high frequencies out of the group. So, percussions, for example. You see that high peak here? That one, for example, we can just cut. And then we have dynamic range back. Here you see the peaks. We are like peaking at -6, -5. We have to wait for the hi-hats again. But yeah, some peaks are really like, yeah, that one was -3. And that you just cut out here without smoothing it. So we don't lose like the transient. For this, a clipper is better than a limiter. A limiter is more like for the last moment, like on a master chain or something, where you want to have that smooth. So I like to use the clipper just for these clicks, but we can even add some saturation when we go deeper with this in. Like, again, you see what we hear, what we add. Here, minus 15, I like round numbers, let's put that like this. Minus 15. And now we have headroom back. So we can dial in, I don't know, plus 3 dB, let's say that. And now these percussions are punching more. Without. With. Without. With. Can even push more. And then back up here. Let's say 7 and 17. So we adding this. And then without, with. Now you can hear it quite well. So look, without we are around minus 6. Let's go in this like percussion moment here where the hi-hats are starting. And the drum group, check the metering. We are minus 6, a little bit up, minus 5, minus 3. Yeah, and now with the clipper, we are directly under minus 6, minus 8, and it's louder. So I can even say less. It just gives a little bit more punch. And that same thing in the end on the master chain. So like I saturate it a little bit, right? I EQ it the proper way with the mid-side splitting. I give the characters to the areas I like. I compress it a little bit. But still, if I make this thing off, check the limiter, how much he gets in. Kind of heavy peaks. So what I do with the clipper in this case is I really keep it on how it is, like 0 ceiling. But I add this and now check the limiter. Almost nothing to do. Almost too much already. Just have in mind, if you go on groups, you want a smaller knee. And if you go on a master, you want kind of the smallest knee, right? So this thing can go till 20 dB. But that would sound terrible, what we're adding, right? So you just want to get some little clicks. Just for the extra punch. Not off, we want to solo off. So, and then you hear without. And then with. Super small nose, but it's like this little peaks that we have that get a little bit of saturation just for the peaks. Imagine you have a Aurora just for your transients. Amazing tool. Two really technical little devices that I start loving in the last weeks and using it a lot. It makes absolutely sense for me. Very, very thank you to GM Audio for taking your time. Yeah, let me ask you the questions that I needed to ask and show me a little bit how they are working. Super nice. I will link your Gumroad somewhere down and here in the video. Guys, support this person. Really cool devices, really technical approach for Max devices. So if you're looking for like mixing, mastering tools, that's the place to go. If you want really clean, classic, like Sinos comparison, what their tools are actually doing, they have amazing videos for that on the shop site. So yeah, have a look. In this case, I hope you have a great week. You like and subscribe this video because that helps me and you in the future. Check out my website, join the Discord. We're all sharing feedback. By the way, this track is for the VA that we're doing in this community. Join the community and join that VA that we're doing. Then have a nice week and we see you soon. Bye.